To Queensland, where we are 2 weeks away from the state election, I believe that regional Queensland will decide this election, yet we can't pretend that the polls are not the way they are. Now, this is a statewide poll. It was put out in the Australian on the weekend, and it is good news for Anastasia Palaszczuk. She would most likely be returned. Now, whether she would be returned in her current majority, bigger, slightly smaller, who knows? But I can't hide the news from you. The latest statewide opinion poll, heavily weighted in the southeast, 52-48. As for the actual votes about where things are going to be going here, Labor is up 3% to 37%. The LNP is up as well to 37%. The Greens, of course, added to the ALP, gets them close to the magical number of 50. One Nation is apparently down to just 4.7%. I don't believe that number. Not because I don't want to not believe that number, I just don't believe that number. Because at the state election last year, One Nation did not get 4% of the vote. Statewide, it doesn't get big numbers, but they don't need statewide numbers. In places like Townsville, in places like Cairns, in places like Ipswich, they're going to get more than 4% of the vote. And the deal that they've done with the Katters, that will get more than 1% of the vote in Townsville, Cairns, Mount Isa and a whole lot of other places. When they start swapping preferences, regional Queensland can still decide this election. Now, the polls told us that it'd be President Clinton, the UK still passionately part of the EU, and of course Bill Shorten would currently be Prime Minister. As I told you on all of those occasions, I repeat now, nothing is inevitable. It is up to you. Is Queensland going to fall for the dog and pony trick for the third time of Anastasia Palaszczuk and the PR machine that, again, is all about the 6 p.m. news? Are you really going to think that she's the friend of the worker because she stands next to some union members in high-vis vests? Do you truly believe that they have an economic plan for the state when they won't deliver a state budget until after the election? Where the Treasurer would not tell you whether they will put up taxes next year? Where just 178 full-time jobs were created in the state, as opposed to 38,000 around the entire country? Do you not believe that this is again going to be a government that will change the electoral system to stay in power, the funding system to make sure that the unions can outspend any other political party 10-1? Do you not believe that in another 4 years, the only time they will go to Rockhampton is with a TV camera? The only time they will talk about youth crime in Townsville is with a TV camera. People like Slick Mick, the sports minister, will be rewarded for moving taxpayer funds to Labor seats. And it goes on and on and on and on. So that's why I don't believe the poll. Because I believe the evidence is clear that the government needs to be flushed. I'll give you the Domestos, Queensland, to get rid of the stain. But certainly regional Queensland, you stay strong. Because I truly do not believe that the people of regional Queensland really believe that if Anastasia Palaszczuk pulls up stumps in the next term, that this dickhead should be your premier. Stephen Mock.
You all know that we have an economic plan. It's detailed, it's costed, but now I can reveal the LNP's secret plan. It's been around a while now. It's longer than I remember it from when I was a kid, but it's the magic pudding.
Really? They think you're stupid. They think that the cover of COVID hides all sins. That bloke runs a health system that was $500 million late in paying the bills for things like bandages. Queensland, it's in your hands. We'll talk about it a lot in the next couple of weeks because this matters. Bad governments can't be rewarded for scaring their people. Now, I don't care about the result in New Zealand or the Northern Territory or the ACT or inevitably all of the other things that say under the cover of COVID all sins are forgiven. You are hiring them for the next 4 years. They have no plan. They have a brochure. Unemployment is the worst in the country. And by their own admission, Treasurer Cameron Dick, by name and nature, has promised that unemployment will keep going up until December. And even when it starts to come down in June of next year, it'll still be 8.5%. It's currently 6.7% nationally. If you care about your family members being able to have a job, a real job, you can't trust these people with giving them their old job for another 4 years. Flush this mob. I'll give you the domestos, get rid of the stain.